Can you use the Boss GT-1000 as an ambient loop machine? Heck yeah! Let's get to work. I recently posted an ambient guitar meditation using the GT-1000. I created a patch in which I used 2 different amp models and the built-in phrase looper, and I was able to create a really nice sounding looped ambient drone and play lead over top of it. So on this video, I'm just going to break down that patch, show you what I did. So I've got the GT-1000 iOS app up, and I'm just going to walk through all of the blocks, the effect blocks, really quickly. You can see first up, we're just going straight into the GT-1000, and then we're hitting a divider or a division. And as I've shown you on prior videos, you can use the div to create essentially a switchable paths. So I've got a clean and a distorted tone set up with this div. Here is my clean tone. Just really simple. Here's the distorted. Pretty plain sounding, but, you know, not bad sounding. But we're going to make it better. All right, so moving on, you'll see that I've got 2 noise suppressor blocks, so that's basically a noise gate. And then we're mixing down so we can continue in stereo. Next up is the FV block, and that is essentially the volume control. So make sure I don't drop my phone there. So anyhow, I'm going to use that right now. Okay, just a volume control. Next up, you'll see that I've got the effects 2 block queued up, and let me tap into that so you can see what that is. I've got this set to the defretter effect type, and this is a really interesting effect. So I wasn't familiar with it before I got the GT-1000. It feels like it tries to reduce the notion that you're playing a fretted instrument and going to a fretless instrument. But I find that it's kind of more like an envelope filter in some ways. So if I'm playing the lead channel, here's what it kind of sounds like. That's pretty cool. All right, let's move on here. We're going to go to the next divider. And again, I got my inspiration from some of the Yamaha UD Stomp presets that Alan Holdsworth put together for Yamaha long ago. And that is using parallel delays to create kind of width and spaciousness in the sound. So you'll see here, divider number 2 is split into 2 parallel paths, and it's going to create a stereo effect. So let me pull up delay 4 here, and you'll see that I've got it set to 45 milliseconds. So I'll turn that on. Delay number 2, also on the left channel, is set to 104 milliseconds. Delay 3 on the right channel is 60 milliseconds. And delay 1, also on the right channel, is 163 milliseconds. And when I turn all of these on, which I believe they are right now, here's what it sounds like with the lead tone. That's pretty cool. So we've got a stereo sound that's pretty wide, and it kind of has almost like a room kind of a sound to it, but you can still tell it's kind of slap delays. All right, moving on. Next in line, we've got the looper, and I'm not going to tap into that. That's just the looper block for the GT-1000. And the looper, if I recall the numbers correctly, if you are in mono mode, it's essentially a 38-second looper. If you're in stereo, it's a 19-second looper. So it's very short. It's pretty much just useful for quick little phrases. Okay. Next up is the master delay block. So let me tap into that. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on so I don't forget. This is set to stereo 2, so there are a bunch of delay types available with the master delay block. And it's set to 1.6 seconds, so 1666 milliseconds. And it's pretty straightforward. Let me just tap through the pages there. No modulation. It's only about a 30% effect level as opposed to the direct level. So it's not super loud, but let's see what it sounds like here. Yeah, that's a cool sounding delay. Now, the other thing I should mention is that for this particular piece, I'm wrapping my pinky around the volume knob of my guitar and just doing volume control swells with my finger. Okay, I could use the volume pedal, but I kind of like the fact that when you bring in the volume swell with the control on the guitar, you're affecting the gain. So that's the volume control. You can hear the gain is full on, all the way up the volume kind of spectrum versus the volume control on the guitar. Yeah. So anyhow, that's a playing technique. But I think it does contribute to the overall sound, obviously. All right, next up is really just reverb. So let's check that out. And I've got this set to the Ambient reverb, 1.9 seconds. And here's what the entire patch sounds like with the reverb on. Well, at this point, you might be asking, Bill, where is the drone? And I'm going to tell you about that right now. I'm using the looper block in the patch to create the drone. And the looper, again, is very simple. By default, it's mapped to the 3 control or CTL switches on the GT-1000. CTL1 acts as the record, playback, and overdub switch, so it's kind of like triple duty. Number 2 acts as the stop switch, so if you just want to stop your loop, you can do that. And then CTL3 is the clear switch if you want to go ahead and erase everything from memory. So I've got a blank loop set up here. If you're not familiar with that technique, I'll include a link to another video that I've done on that here. I'm going to go ahead and set it to overdub, and I'm going to play a low B volume swell. So here we go. All right, that's kind of messy, but you get the point. I'm going to go ahead now and add in some clean guitar on top of it. Nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and start playing some lead. Well, there you have it, a quick look at my looping ambient guitar patch for the Boss GT-1000. Now, I do have to say the simplicity of the looper is a little limiting, but if you're willing to work within its limits, in other words, the 38 seconds or the 19 seconds, depending on if you're mono or stereo, you can create some nice, simple loops that allow you to create multiple layers and then play on top of it for some really nice effects. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. And also, I'd like to mention that hopefully below this video, you'll see links to official Chords of Orion merch. If you don't see the links, I'll include a link to the Teespring store in the video description. And as always, I'll see all of you on the next video.